Modi has finally got his wish and been re-elected to the G8. It must be said that Modi has been on tenterhooks lately. Since the India-Pakistan conflict was suspended, one misfortune after another has befallen him. First, the delegation sent to promote India's victory was snubbed by various countries. Then domestic floods occurred, followed by routine stampede incidents, plus Raghu, possibly a political rival, has been desperately stabbing him in the back. Therefore, Modi is now extremely eager to create some momentum to divert domestic public attention and stabilize popular sentiment. It's quite a coincidence that the G7 summit is about to be held. As a G8 participant for 6 consecutive years, Modi views this G7 meeting as a timely opportunity. Recalling his G8 presidency in Italy last year, Modi was at the height of his glory, not only standing in the center position, but flanked by Germany on his left and Japan on his right. When the photos were released, Indian citizens were ecstatic. After all, Germany and Japan were ranked 3rd and 4th in global GDP at the time. For Modi to stand in the center with these two nations as foils, what did this signify? In the eyes of some, it meant that India had become the world's center after the U.S., with all other countries merely fit to stand by its side as supporting actors. This year, Modi had long made plans for the G7 summit, even preparing slides in advance. He was determined to teach the G7 countries India's success philosophy and promote India's Grade 8 technology and 6th-generation fighter jets. In a word, his goal was to brainwash the G7 members during this G8 trip, to make the world rediscover India and make all illiterate Indians proud of being Indian. However, to Modi's surprise, as the summit approached, the long-awaited G8 invitation never arrived. After endless waiting, he found that India was not on the guest list at all. In an instant, Modi felt as if the sky was falling. His subordinates fell silent collectively, while Indian Foreign Minister Su pretended to be shocked. Although Modi said nothing, he put on an air of "I didn't have time anyway, so the invitation doesn't matter in public." As for why Modi, who has been participating as the G8 in the G7 meetings for 6 consecutive years, was not invited in advance this time, there are roughly 2 reasons. First, the host of this G7 meeting is Canada. As is known to all, the relationship between Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau and Modi is basically that they wish each other immediate misfortune. Although Trudeau has been out of office for several months, it did not stop Canada from trying to upset Modi. After all, since Trudeau was once the Prime Minister of Canada, Modi's bullying of him was seen as an affront to Canada. Second, it is the India-Pakistan conflict this time. It should be noted that the G7 is by no means a good thing, and all its members are old-fashioned robbers. It should be noted that the G7 is by no means a good thing, with all its members being old-school imperialist powers. In the past, they included India only to use it as a pawn to provoke China. The G7 always knew India was backward and had a thick skin, but they never expected it to be this incompetent. Its audacity even exceeded their imagination. How dare India have the nerve to preach its so-called success philosophy to the G7? This is simply upside down. If the G7 continues to associate with such a country, where will its dignity go? Of course, the most important thing is that Trump, the boss of the G7, can't stand Modi no matter how he looks at him. He never forgets to annoy Modi at all times. Even when communicating with Modi in English, Trump brings an interpreter, for fear of following in Biden's footsteps and being deceived by Modi inadvertently. Therefore, the more Modi longs to be part of a G8, the more Trump insists on playing tricks on him. In fact, for India, whether it becomes a member of a so-called G8 doesn't really matter. After all, if the G7 excludes India, it can still hang out in the BRICS. By then, it will be the United States that gets anxious. But for Modi, this is a matter of face, so he can't swallow this humiliation. On the one hand, he has ordered his top mouthpiece, Sister Jackin, to frantically criticize Canada. On the other hand, he has asked his number 1 subordinate, the Indian Foreign Minister, to call Anand, the Canadian Foreign Minister of Indian origin, hoping that Anand would help mediate out of hometown fellowship. Unexpectedly, this fellow countryman didn't show any respect at all. He directly read the message without reply, brushing off the Indian Foreign Minister. But just when Modi was in a frazzle, the situation took a turn. Canadian new Prime Minister Carney personally called Modi, formally inviting him to continue as a G8 member this year. Modi was overjoyed. As soon as the call ended, he immediately posted on social media, saying he was delighted to receive Prime Minister Carney's call, congratulated him on winning the general election, thanked him for the invitation to be a G8 member, and looked forward to their meeting. This is truly unprecedented. He was elected in March, but Modi didn't congratulate him until June. Is this political obtuseness or just overexcitement? But why would Modi care about that? As soon as the tweet was posted, he began arranging for domestic media to build up momentum, directly portraying the phone call as another major victory in India's diplomacy. Television channels rolled out footage of Modi alongside world leaders, and newspaper front pages carried bold headlines: "The world respects India, G7 opens its arms again, India loyal to G8."